guys, it's Maggie and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that I'm being lazy and I'm filming on my phone. I filmed some clips for this video on my phone and I just don't feel like getting out my camera right now. I need to charge it because I shot a wedding last week. Essentially, this is what we're doing today. So as you can see from the title, today we are talking about the wrap up, the books that I read in May, and then also choosing my TBR for June. I've decided I'm always gonna do this as a combined video because I don't read enough for my wrap up to be its own video. I really don't. We've established I'm not a professional booktuber. I'm just a girl who likes to read. But before we continue, I really wanted to make a valiant effort to complete my May TBR. At this point, I had 1 week left to finish before June 1st, and I tried. I really tried.
Good morning. I got to the house for the wedding weekend and I am reading by the pool. It's so beautiful. I didn't get that much done at the airport last night. I think I read like 20 pages and then I slept during the entire 5-hour flight. So Persephone's definitely very naive. She's like exploring places that I personally would never go by myself, but she's going there, and then Hades is showing up and coming to the rescue. Obviously there is more than meets the eye with him, and I am definitely picturing long hair Harry. And for Persephone, I'm picturing like, because she has curly blonde hair, so I'm picturing like young Taylor Swift, and she is very young in this, but it's definitely very fun.
I actually cannot deal with how beautiful this house was. I never wanted to leave. I could sit in this little window seat and read all freaking day long. But sure enough, the weekend flew by. The wedding was so gorgeous and I was back in the airport. Still hadn't finished the book. I was flying from California to Philly, so my jet lag was very real. Forgot to update, but I finished Touch of Darkness on the plane ride home yesterday, and I was so sleepy after I finished it. Like, I can barely stay awake on planes. Any moving vehicle, train, car, I'm sleeping. And I have to say, I sincerely enjoyed it. I would say as far as fantasies go, it was not one of my like life-changing fantasy experiences, but I did very much enjoy it. I love Hades. Persephone can definitely come off as very immature at times, but I think it makes sense because she is extremely young and she was sheltered so much in her upbringing that like her irrational actions at times makes sense. And I think she has potential to grow so much as a character. And I'm very interested to see her character art over the next few books. So now I have to decide, do I want to read Hades' perspective and go back and forth between the two? Or if I just want to stick with Persephone, because I've heard of people doing it a couple different ways and I don't know what I want to do. If you've read it and you have an opinion, let me know. My next book to see if I can complete my TBR 1 week before the end of June, or the end of May. I think I'm gonna do the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Wish me luck. Just got back from Target. I have decided that I'm going to do the full read of the Hades Persephone. Is there a name to this series? I got A Game of Fate, which is the next book from Hades' perspective. I don't know if it's the same timeline as the first or if this is next in the experience, but according to the reading order that I was recommended, this is next. I'm so excited. Also, went to a spontaneous concert last night, so have not started The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And it is the 30th, so I need to do that. Also, I'm really royally going to fail my TBR. Okay, so finally I started The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and immediately obsessed. So good. I read it at night. I woke up early to continue reading it before work. I'm so into it. Like, wow. First thing I'll say is I'm not yet finished with The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. My goal was to finish my TBR this month. I really wanted to do it and I didn't get to it. Okay, I'm using Goodreads on my laptop since I'm using my phone and I can't look at what I read and I don't even remember what I read. So to start, oh, it's at the bottom here. Okay, so at the end of my wrap up from April. I talked about how I just started The Daughters of Block Island, and I did finish that in May. I gave it a 4 stars. It was such a pleasant surprise. It's a small author. It's a book I never even heard about. It's not like super popular, so I very much enjoyed myself. It wasn't like my favorite thriller of all time, but it was great. And if you're going to Rhode Island on vacation, you should totally read it. Totally different than summer vibes, so maybe it's a fall or winter book, but... And then for my TBR, I read Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. For being like one of the smaller Magnolia Parks Universe books, this had a very profound effect on me. But this was beauty and joy and pain, so much pain. It had perspectives obviously from this one. So okay, if you don't know much about Magnolia Parks, I'll just do a really quick moment here. Do I have to get them all out? So to start, you start with Magnolia Parks. This establishes their world. You get to know various characters. A lot of people hate this book because they hate the main love interest, which is BJ, because he's crazy and toxic. I did not feel that way about this book. I did not hate it. I loved it. But if you read it and you don't like it because you hate him, keep going. Keep going. Then you get Daisy Hates. So Magnolia Parks has like one friend group in London, and they're like the it group, and one of them and Daisy have something going on. Daisy is not in that friend group. Her brother is a gang lord. His name is Julian. He runs the gang scene across the UK. You don't want to mess with Julian, and Daisy's his little crime boss sister. So some people love Daisy Hates more than they love Magnolia. It just depends on who you relate to. Personally, I'm a Magnolia Parks girl. Like, that's just who I am. I'm not cool enough to be Daisy, in the sense that like I don't play it cool enough to be Daisy. If that was painful for you, just keep reading, because you'll be obsessed. Period. And these two books take place at the exact same time. But because Daisy is not friends with Magnolia, you don't know what's going on in Daisy's life while you're reading this. So then where those leave off is where Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home comes in, and then simultaneously is Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. You cannot read these books out of order. You can't just read Magnolia or just read Daisy. Nothing will make any sense. You have to do it like that, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see, like, she's thick. She's thick. And she's like, I can't keep going into this, but long story short, 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. And then for my book club, I read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I really enjoyed book club. It was my first one, my first time making friends here in my new city. I met some really sweet girls. This is not my favorite romance. This is not a 5-star read for me personally, which I know some people love this book. I think it's extremely interesting. This is about a main female character who's autistic, and she lives in Silicon Valley, which is where I live. So that was really fun to explore where I live in this book. And I love the representation of neurodivergence in a main character. I think that's amazing. The main male character I thought was great as well. So I love the Vietnamese representation. There's a lot of great aspects to this book. It's also very short. It kind of feels insta-lovey to me. Basically, the premise is she's trying to get better at relationships. Since she's autistic, she feels like she doesn't really know how to connect to other people well, and she feels like she turns people off, essentially. And her mom really wants her to like get married and have babies, and she wants to make her parents proud. So she hires a male escort to try to teach her how to be better at relationships. And because of the premise, it feels very quick. That tension doesn't really exist. I don't know. It just wasn't my favorite. I didn't yet rate it, but I think I would rate it a 3.5. Okay, and then I read Touch of Darkness. As you saw from my reading vlog, I really had a fun time reading this, and I have already purchased A Game of Fate. Very excited to get to this because I love Hades, obvi. And then the last book for my TBR that I picked up is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which, if you remember from the prompt, is the book that I've had on my shelves for the longest. And you guys, it's so good. It's so good. It's amazing. Of course, I've just like let this sit here where I could have been reading this years ago. I'm over halfway, so I'll probably finish this weekend, and I will update my final thoughts and ratings.
Finished. Some tears were shed. Why did it take me so long to read this book? I completely understand why this book is so popular and has sold 2 million copies. It's amazing. If you have not read it, like me, and you've been putting it off because sometimes when things are too popular, they're intimidating, just pick it up. It was nothing like I expected. I knew nothing about this going into it other than the title, and I'm so glad I went into it blind. I'm glad that nothing was spoiled for me. I've never read anything like this. It just puts shallow books to shame. 5 stars. 5 stars, period.
The books I did not get to from my TBR. I did not get to Things We Hide from the Light or The Prisoner's Throne. I really, really want to read this summer. So, and also my best friend Laura just picked it up. So I need to get to it. I'm running out of room. I need to reorganize my shelves. So I added a couple new prompts. Let's get down to business. Let's see what we got going on for June. Book with a blue cover. Oh, I already see an option. 28 Summers, that is very blue. Oh, this is very blue. This is also very blue. Oh my gosh, I have so many choices for these. Let me just go through our options and then we can choose. Book 1, 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. Only read one book by her, The Hotel Nantucket. Obsessed. Loved this book. I read it on vacation last year. Option number 2 is very self-explanatory. It's Funny Story. I haven't read it yet. Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors. If you guys watched my last video, which is my book Rex video, you know that I love Beach Read by her. And I didn't even mention Happy Place. I am obsessed with Happy Place. It was such a great book. This is very tempting. And it's a new release, so that's really fun. This isn't new, so I don't feel like I'm missing out by not reading it right now. And then my final option is The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. My mom got this for me for Christmas. It's a thriller. It's giving summer vibes, but to me, this is giving August vibes. So I kind of want to save it for August. I'm so torn. One of the prompts I put in here, Funny Story would fit in very perfectly. So maybe I go with this, but what if I don't get that prompt? Oh man, I'm so indecisive. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait and see what other prompts I get and then choose my blue cover at the end, okay? I'm sorry if you hate that. Oh, and I didn't say, I think I'm gonna choose 5 books again. A book with people on the cover. Oh, wait, that's perfect. Wait, well, that wasn't what I was thinking. What was I thinking? A book with people on the cover. The people on the cover. Oh, wait. Does that mean I have 2 people? I wrote this myself. Okay, The Gracier as a Person. Never has people on the cover. This is an option. Last Night at the Telegraph Club. People. Is it time to read Never? It might be time. All right, rating it. This is going on the TBR. A book you'd think you'd give 5 stars. Okay, that's perfect because I'm such a cheater. Okay, so I think I'm gonna give Funny Story 5 stars. So that's going on the TBR. This is working out so well for me. My choice. Okay, my choice. Oh, for my choice, it's gonna be the book club book of the month, which is, I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it here, but that's gonna be my choice. Last one, you guys. Last Night at the Telegraph Club. That's funny. I literally said that. I've had this on my shelf for maybe almost a year, but I'm very excited to read it. It's actually about San Francisco, which is amazing. I'm not really sure entirely what it's about, but I know that it's a sapphic romance. It's during the 1950s, and there's Red Scare paranoia, racism against Chinese Americans, obviously anti-LGBTQ vibes. So there's a lot going on. Again, if you watched my book Rex video, you know I love historical fiction, and this feels like it would fit perfectly into that. It's Pride Month, so that's great. That's perfect and fitting. Yeah, okay. This is the most perfect TBR. It's so cute. To recap, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, which I think is gonna be a 5 star. We have Never by Jessa Hastings, a book I've heard very mixed reviews about, so I'm very interested to see what I will think. Last Night at the Telegraph Club, Prepare for Pride Month, and 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand, and also my book club choice. Okay, you guys, I hope everybody has a great reading month, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!